We're going to check out some mandolin strings today, and this might be for my information as much as anyone else's. It's good to hear these things back on recordings. It gives you a different impression than what you hear when you're actually playing it. So I have my observations as I'm playing, and then I also like to hear it back on the recording to see what it sounds like out there in real life. They sound different sometimes. So we have 4 sets of strings here. They're all Diodaraios. And the first set that's on the mandolin right now are the XS. Diodaraia XS is your coated phosphor bronze strings. They're on the mandolin right now, so we will check them out. Then we're going to do the next set will be the nickel-plated steel, which are the EGA 67s. And I have used these on this mandolin before, and these are probably my choice. However, I was over here and I needed to restring the mandolin, and I had a set of XS. I thought I'd try them. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about the sounds later. The next set would be a nickel bronze. I have not used these yet on that mandolin. I have used them on guitars, and I know what kind of sound they do on guitars, so I'm curious to see them on this mandolin here. And then the last set would be the Monel's EJM 74. And again, that's a set that I have not tried on this mandolin. So, the mandolin we're going to look at today, this is an Elkhorn mandolin. It is date is 8/10. So it's 14 years old now. So it's getting there, number 27. This I've been in several of my videos. I've recorded this one before. And what this mandolin has, sound I try to get out of it is it's got a really open, woody sound that reminds me of Sam Bush sound. It reminds me of Sam Bush, Bill Monroe. It's got that kind of open, woody sound to it, as opposed to my other mandolin, which is a Chris Shot mandolin. The Chris Shot has X bracing on it, and it's just different. And that one is much more, how do you describe that one? A sweeter sound of mandolin, more of a singing kind of quality. It's not as open as this one. It's more like a Collins. Okay, it's that kind of more balanced sound. I've got a video comparing the two of them. They're definitely a different sounding mandolins. On the other mandolin, on the Chris Shot, I definitely 100% phosphor bronze XS strings are just, man, that really brings out that mandolin. But on this one, I like a different sound out of it, and I do not like the way the phosphor bronze sound out of it. So that's the first string we're gonna use as our comparison, because the string choices are mostly on the 4 wound strings. I'm going to focus my licks and my playing on those rather than playing a bunch of treble stuff up on the treble strings. Not going to be much difference on those. I already know that from other experience. And so I'm going to focus a little bit more on the round strings. So the licks that I do are going to focus on that. So we're going to try to, I'm going to play them all, I'm going to change them, and then I'm going to cut and splice here so that they're all A, B, back to back. So you can hear them directly. I've watched a couple of other string videos, and David Benedict has a really good one. His was really good, it was interesting, but I wanted to hear my mandolin with those strings too. And also some of the other string comparisons don't do an actual A-B. They play a little bit on one string, and then later on then you hear the other string. And I like to do them splice, so you can hear them smack dab, okay? And a lot of what I'm looking for too is also the feel, not necessarily the sound so much, but there's a feel that I want out of it. So with all that said, here are the Diodaraiia XS. Impressions of the EJ67s coming off of the XS is they feel better under my fingers. They're slicker. They don't squeak as much. The XS were kind of grabby on my fingers. Especially, I really noticed on the slides there. These are slick, not slick, smooth. Smooth is a better word. They're smooth on the slide. And I can feel that on the pick too. It's not gripping the pick's sliding off that string a little bit better. And this is what I run on this mandolin. So they feel familiar. They have a little less tension too. I do believe these are the 67s. They're 39 and 25. So a little bit less tension on that. And I feel that. They're smoother. So that's more the sound that I expected out of this mandolin. Whatever sound that is. I would describe it a little bit more open. So, once again, that's the string I'm used to on this mandolin. As soon as I put these on, the first time I used them, I'm like, wow, that was a cool sound. Okay. So let's try the other ones. These are the nickel bronze. My first reaction, I don't like them very well. Not as much as the stainless steel 67s. They're definitely stiffer. They raise the action on the mandolin, and they're stiff. They feel stiff. And they're also, when I'm sitting there playing it, they're powerful, but they're heavy sounding. Not what I want out of this mandolin. I want the lighter, crisper sound, and they sound like phosphor bronze, and they feel like stainless steel. They do feel good under the fingers. They're not. They make some noise there, but they're not grabby. And I've used these on guitar before, and I've liked them on guitar where they have a nice feel. And on guitar, they definitely feel stiffer. On guitar, they have a bassier sound to them, slightly bassier, which, I'm hearing on this too. That's a nice sound. It's got a lot of power to it. It sounded good on the Sammy lick, But it's not as easy to do that pull off. They take a little bit more strength. Yeah. No, I don't know about these. I feel like because of the tension, I feel like they're not letting the mandolin ring. This is an Engelmann spruce top, and it's a little bit of a soft top, and it's split after I had it about 2 years, and then I repaired it and that kind of thing. But it's not a stiff top, and I think this kind of strings might sound better on a stiffer mandolin, like a Collings. My Chris shot, they might sound pretty good, more stiffer mandolin, but on this one I feel like they're stifling the sound a little bit more. This mandolin would be like a pre-war D28. Light top, light breaks, and you don't want you don't want to overburden that top. You want to let it ring a little bit more. And I think that's what I like so much about the 67s is, in fact, the lighter tension lets that top ring and bounce. And I feel like it stifling this one just a little bit. So I do like the feel, but I don't think they're a real good fit on this mandolin. So, okay. The Monels. The EMJ 74s. These are a 40 and a 26. They're a little bit heavier than the EJ 67s, the stainless steel ones. A little bit heavier than that. I feel the heaviness. It's not bad though. They don't have as much tension. They don't feel like they have as much tension as the nickel bronze. So they feel good. You know, they feel good under the fingers. They don't feel grabby. Yeah. There's some noise, but it's not bad, and they don't feel grabby. So I like the sound. You know. I think they're a little bit more muted. Not quite as bright as the 67s, the stainless steel ones. The stainless steel ones had a brightness to them. At least I think so. You know, these sound just a little bit muted, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. These are definitely not phosphor bronze. They're completely over on the opposite. I could probably live with these, but I think, all in all, I think I'm probably going to stick with the 67s. I've had those on this mandolin for 3 or 4 years, and they've just been really happy with the way they feel, the way they sound, and everything about them. But this would probably be my second choice. So I think, for me, for the feel and sound that I want out of this mandolin, it's going to be the 67s, the stainless steel, and probably the Monels would be my second choice. I would pick the phosphor bronze. I'd pick the XS over the nickel bronze. I did not like the nickel bronze. They felt really, really, really stiff to me. And I would take the phosphor bronze feel over the sound of the nickel bronze. And if I could get the nickel bronze in a slightly lighter gauge, then we might be talking. But I don't think they're going to offer anything that the 67s don't. There are 67, right? I keep thinking they're 27s, but whatever. The stainless steel. I don't think the nickel bronze offer anything that the stainless steel don't. The Monels don't offer anything either. So, you know, stainless steel, Monel, phosphor bronze XS, nickel bronze. That's my preference on this mandolin. So, you know, I'm going to leave these Monels on here for a little bit because I'm tired of changing strings. One last thing. Man, I changed a lot of strings. I use a string winder here that a friend of mine made. It's for mandolin. It's mandolin specific. Got a small thing. This thing's great. Normally I use a powered winder, but it hits the headstock up here, and I've got a couple of marks. Second thing was, back at the other shop, when I changed mandolin strings, I have the Stumac vise. And my gosh, you put this neck in here like that and clamp it in the vise. It makes your life so much easier. Sitting here at the remote shop, man, the mandolin's rocking back and forth, and I put sandbags on it, and it rocks, and it's just all over the place. And it takes 2 hands, really, because you got to, you know, you've changed mandolin strings. You got to hold the string, you got to wind the winder. The mandolin's rocking back and forth. I miss my Stumac vise. Third thing is, I cannot stand these Waverly tuners. I know they're the top-rated tuner, blah, blah, blah. I don't know who rates them. You know, I know Sam and Tony and everybody that, you know, endorses them, uses them, but I hate them. And the reason I don't like them is because the shaft is straight. And I want that shaft that comes in and curves out because it pulls the strings together, you see. And I have my strings just scattered all over the place here. This is not a Telecaster pickup, you know. I don't want scattered winding on here. And the strings are just scattered all over the place. I hate that. Maybe it's a little bit of OCD or whatever, but I want to see my neat string windings, and I want to see the windings pull in on each other, because the way I wrap strings is one over and then one or two under, and that way it pulls the windings together. Man, it locks them solid, and you just lose that with that. I'm sure it's like that because that's the way the lures were, and as a vintage replica tuner, all right, but man, I don't like them. I'm going to look for, I've had it with him. Yeah, I've had him on this mandolin for 14 years, since 2010, and when I got it, I just can't stand them. The Chris Shot has got Gotos or Shilohs or whatever they are. They work perfectly fine. These are stiff. The buttons are ebony, and they just don't feel good. They feel fragile. I'm afraid I'm going to break them every time I turn them. They're held on with screws, so there's a lot of screws to get loose, etc. I love Waverly tuners on guitars, but that's a different story. I just don't like them on this. I'm going to find the replacement for them or rip them off and put them back on. Sure. All right. And I'm listening to the strings again. You know how it is. I get to listen to the mandolin. I forget the song. Instead of listening to the song, I'm listening to the mandolin. So, these are good. Nice shot. Is that right? Yeah. Pay attention. Monel's good. They're dancing. You know what I mean? You don't take a lot of pressure, and you can play really lightly, and your fingers can dance without having to. I can't play mandolin like that. My fingers have got to dance, and these are dancey. Let's see if I can pick one more. Haven't played mandolin in a little bit.